You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
You don't know about the other side of the pyramid? The fifth side? It's called the floor, you dumbass. I just want to make sure he realizes there is a fifth side to the pyramid.
And once you open your fucking mind of undefeated goddamn fairness.
I know all of them, and I believe none of them, which makes me an expert. Hello, folks. Welcome back to another good episode of the Cryptid Conspiracy Cult. I have Christy and Cap back.
What's going on, everybody?
That's right, guys.
Hello.
We're doing a double feature today, double recordings, because some of us work fucked up hours compared to normal people.
I don't think any of us here have normal hours.
No.
No. But today we're going to kind of dive into our favorite cults. We did cults in film, which was always fun. But today we're going to talk about kind of our favorites and what makes them our favorite, and compare and contrast, and why the best cult is always the Mormons. Prove me wrong.
So that's your drop in the hat as far as favorites.
Yes, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I'm going to talk about some other ones, kind of like the unknown ones that don't get talked about much.
So I think between Christy and me, I think we've heard just about all of the takes on the Mormons and the Latter-day Saints from hanging out with Chris.
They're fascinating.
They are fascinating. You know who else is fascinating? Scientologists.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And favorite cult is a weird term, but that's one that's basically been around and in my peripheral my entire life.
Yeah.
Really, just the idea of Scientology and the idea of it being batshit insane through South Park, really. South Park really put a shine on it when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first big mainstream push at the time that kind of painted Scientology in a very negative light, apart from the internet. The internet was already tearing it apart, but South Park on TV put them on blast hardcore.
The first time I heard about Scientology was I had bought an L. Ron Hubbard book from a Dollar General. It was like one of those $5 novels you buy. It looked really cool. It was like a post-apocalyptic novel. It had a guy with a gun on the cover.
Right, because he did
with a
sci-fi westerns and shit like that.
But like in the back of the book, it was like a Dianetics kind of ad in the back.
Trying to get you in.
And it had that weird symbol, the word Dianetics symbol. That was like a triangle with a D and an S, and like the Scientology symbol. It's very weird looking compared to their main like building, which has a giant cross on it. That's just Scientology.
And you would see, celebrities push Scientology like Tom Cruise and John Travolta when I was a teenager too, and in interviews as a result, they started acting kind of weird, and I was like, does this have to do with this? And why is Scientology the way it is? And why is this red-headed, ghoulish-looking redhead the flagship mascot or the figurehead of the whole thing? How is this guy the charismatic leader of this organization that is still running and has been running for decades?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like to say with any other cult, like we'll talk about, like a good example. Another one is, Jonestown or the Children of God, Anthill Kids, which are just runoffs of other things. But it's about, a lot of it is confidence. It's all about the con man or woman. But it's also a place to fit in. So I think a big misconception is I want a place to belong that isn't something I grew up with.
Or this has answers that I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I will say there's nothing wrong with people that are in cults. They're just looking for answers just like everybody else. They just happen to find something probably in a negative light that stuck, and they took it for everything.
Chrissy, what is yours?
Ironically enough, Chris said it. I picked Jonestown.
Drinking the Flavor 8.
Yes. The
Got
great,
monkeys in a cage.
The great Flavor 8, as a matter of fact.
So, there's going to be a lot of crazy facts talked about some of these cults that we like. For me, it's kind of hard to define like my favorite one. Like one out the gate, I just love talking about is the Manson family cult. I think what the great
Me
thing about the
too.
Manson family one is, it's always got a relevance in like true crime, as opposed to cults. It's just kind of fascinating that this little man, this mental fucking midget, just ran a fucking group of people out in the fucking, basically the desert, into being horrific fucking murderers and thieves and killers. It is fascinating because it's not structured like the other two cults you guys are.
Right.
It's not a MLM, multi-level marketing scheme, because that's what these are. At the end of the day, most cults are pyramid schemes.
Yeah, and it's all headed by one charismatic leader that doesn't look like he would be a charismatic leader.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of going into one of these, with the Manson family, we've talked about it on earlier episodes of Cryptic Conspiracy Cult, is, the formation of the cult, who was in it, and stuff like that. And, it's been relevant now because one of the members just currently got released from prison. One of them, who is not dead, who's still very much alive, is Leslie Van Houten.
I was about to ask who all's left.
Tex Watson is still alive. Sadie Mae Watkins died, I believe. I want to say some of the other members who avoided jail time are still alive, but it's hard to say. You're talking about people who were incarcerated when they were like 19 years old in 1971. So these people were on the death row at one point. So when they abolished it in California, they're now there's life.
Right.
They beat the death penalty a lot over the decades that it's come back, gone away, come back. But no, she was turned loose earlier this month.
Well then,
It's pretty wild. Like when we talk about people who are part of cults, who have who have kind of survived or were part of the organization that did the most horrific shit, they're not seen as criminals. They're just seen as cultists who survive. You're survivors. But the Manson family, they're all fucking criminals.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So these are. It's not like you were saying. It's not a tiered system. This was a group of, well, for lack of a better term, hippies.
The worst generation, yes.
Just a group of hippies that didn't know it or did not want to know any better because they were all, tripping on drugs, probably,
Yeah. Well,
and
they
were kind of they were celebrating the '60s hippie fantasy that was in the air at the time. And when Charles Manson comes along, this is what's fascinating about this story to me, because I don't think something like this happens in any other time period, where a guy like that comes into a group like this and the results that happen the way they do. I don't think anything like that happens in any other time period.
Man, it's a wild time. We're just zip-zopping around, man. And I'm just trying to get enough peanut butter
God.
and bread so
Is
we can
this-
all live together
Oh,
in
God.
harmony
Is
on
this
this
Charles-
goddamn ranch.
Charlie's back. Oh my God, Charlie's back from the grave.
Hey, man, you be real cool, but stay away from the women, okay? That's all me. It ticks.
Yeah.
Don't hit me again, Tex, please.
The feminist in me is obligated to tell you to calm your whole self down and take several seats.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's just, when you talk about the women of the Manson family, they are the fucking backbone of that cult.
Yes.
And they,
Which is what makes it so much more interesting that he
You know-
got in all the trouble.
I have a theory about the Manson family cult, that Manson, being a shitty criminal all his life, was just trying to stay alive the whole time, and he kept preaching this fucking idea that the end was coming and we're going to be part of it. I mean, it's very race-based because it
Yes.
is the fucking 60s. But he accidentally had a real killer in the mix with Tex Watson. For those who don't know, Tex Watson comes from Texas.
He was from Detroit.
Who would have fucking known? But in his hometown, before he left, there were two young girls that went missing who were later found dead. There is a small string theory that Tex might have had something to do with it. It's not the first time a straight-laced white guy from Texas went batshit and did something crazy, like your Charles Whitmans. But in all honesty, I think Tex Watson was a straight-up killer before he got to the Manson cult. I think he took advantage, just like Charlie did. I think he had a bigger role in the cult itself. This is just a theory in my mind, but he is a very cognitive human being. He's not some drug-addled hippie. He's a very straight-laced person who could take advantage of you very quickly, especially when it's a whole group of people on drugs, mind-altering substances like LSD.
Right. This is like but wasn't he? I read somewhere, or I must have heard it on a podcast or something like that, where wasn't he like tripping on some kind of like a mandrake root or something like that?
Yeah, so he was taking like some old school fucking hallucinogens.
Yeah, like some ayahuasca type shit.
Yeah, he's from Texas, so like his journey from Texas to Nevada to California, probably he ran into the Navajo at some point.
Got some
peyote.
peyote.
Well, he's in the Painted Desert, hanging out with fucking Creek Indians or something in Texas, and then slowly makes his way west to the Navajo Nation and the fucking whatever's left out there during the 60s. And probably doing ayahuasca and peyote and stuff like that, but he's very cognitive compared to the rest of the cult. I think Charles Manson kind of painted himself in a corner where he started preaching these weird ass fucking ideas, and then eventually some of those girls are just like, well, let's do something about it. And he's like, God damn it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I gotta do this.
Now
I gotta follow
do
through.
some shit. And that's when the magic happens.
The magic.
That's what it is. It's you've heard it before, chaos magic.
Yeah.
It's I don't believe in magic, but the idea of chaos magic is that you accidentally will something into existence.
He manifested it.
Yeah, not that bullshit astrology shit, but like it's just like I've
got a couple of crystals and
Hey, I like the crystal.
yeah, that's fine. It's rocks, but at the end of the day, unless I put him in a shotgun, he really ain't gonna be doing shit.
If you throw them hard enough, they do a lot.
Said David to Goliath.
That's what my ex-girlfriend said.
But like what's I think what it is, he did paint himself into a corner. And again, this is not Jonestown, this is not Scientology. This is something that came and went within probably a span of 5 years.
Yeah.
It didn't last that long. It was a flash in the pan.
5, even might have been like 1 or 2 even, right?
Charles Manson just being Charles Manson.
Oh, right.
Being a shitbag criminal coming out of jail. Because that's the one thing people don't realize is he's a terrible criminal. Like, he's a criminal, but he's terrible at it. He kept being in and out of jail. He doesn't really know his fucking name. He's a bastard by any other sense.
Yeah, his mom was a prostitute or something like that.
Yeah, and then you got the crazy theories on top of it that he was part of MK Ultra, which is another
I've got
conspiracy.
a whole book on that.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun read.
Yeah, the CIA turned him into a fucking double agent who created a cult, and it's just like no, he's just a hippie. Just a dirty fucking hippie
who missed out on the actual Summer of Love. Kind of came in late in the game and kind of basically found a group of the 67 Fallout. Really, I think.
And my theory is that he had Tex Watson in the wings waiting to, hey Charlie, man, I got this itch I need to be fucking scratched. Me and the girls are going to take a ride into the Hollywood Hills, which is known for some nefarious shit anyway. The Hollywood Hills, if you just look up the history of that area, it's filled with fucking horror stories. And this is before Roman Polanski. Like, but these are you're in a weird conspiracy saying like your Hollywood elites doing some real nasty shit because they have nothing else to do. They're at that tippy top of the game of fame.
There's no cell phones.
Yeah, there's no cell phones. It's just like everybody's secret as shit. It's just like at one point you could be hanging out with Sharon Tate and Abigail Folger, and it's just like, oh my god, this is the next, Faye Dunaway or somebody. Like, this is going to be the next big star, and her best friend, the heir to the Folgers coffee fortune. Next door you could be hanging out with Steve McQueen and Bruce Lee, learning how to punch a dude in the neck. Like, that, it's totally plausible that these things can happen in the Hollywood Hills, and there's a lot of horrific shit that happens up there, especially murders. And then you have people like
Free love and all that too.
And then you have the LaBiancas, who are just collateral damage, just someone's idea of just like, let's just kill these two people for no reason.
I always kind of look at stuff like that and the Altamont incident as, I don't know if you know that story.
Yeah, the kind of flash in the pan that was the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
when they came to their last concert of the 60s.
Yeah, it was like they're trying to put on a free concert in California as like an answer to Woodstock, and what happened was that they hired the Hells Angels to be their security.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, and
this is the part where the Maury pulls out the envelope, and and that was a lie.
Yeah.
And just Maury being like, that was a fucking mistake, Mick.
But I think the blind trust in that kind of security and among a group of people, and just that kind of blind trust in that kind of, I guess, the free love, whatever
Hippy-dippy bullshit.
Well, whatever you want to call it, just the very laxed sense of security or justice, whatever you want to call it. Really,
It's a laissez-faire.
very laissez-faire that killed the hippies dead in the water in the end of the 60s.
And, like,
just
even the song,
ruined that entire mindset.
Even a song like American Pie, when he's talking
Yeah.
about like jumping Jack flat, that's what he's talking about. Jack jump over the candles, like that's what he's referring to.
Altamont.
It's Altamont, and it's like the hippie generation just killed the '60s right then and there. That is not how you want to end off a decade of what was peace and love. Granted, it was all a lie.
It was because there was
Because love isn't free; it costs $1.05. Everybody knows that. Just like the song says.
also they'll send your ass to Vietnam anyway.
Yeah, so you're
and-
dealing with going into Jonestown and Scientology. This plays a big fucking part in both their hype moments, especially. So like you end with Charles Manson in 1969, 70, 71, and then in the 70s, all these hippies have to go somewhere.
these disillusioned,
And
disillusioned hippies.
yeah, so where's the best place to go? Into something which is a form of Christianity.
Yeah, you go to a guy who started his church in the 50s.
Put $1 in the boxer.
Yeah. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
He has chimps for sale.
Yes. Jim Jones started his church in the 50s. He
Drinks
started
are free.
He started on his tent revival circuit in the 50s. And when they relocated from Indiana to the Redwood Valley in the 60s, due to the fact that Jim Jones decided to be the first person in Indiana to adopt an African-American child.
Very progressive.
Yes, very
He sold
progressive.
monkeys before that, so let's talk
That's
about
true.
let's talk about how crazy fucking progressive this man is. You can't see his eyes, like he's a weird Hank Williams Jr.
Oh, Chris, you have to be able to cover up his eyes because that's where the Holy Spirit is.
That's where the amphetamines are bloodshot in his eyes.
Absolutely. But his story was that's where the Holy Spirit is.
If I wanted to do coke with anybody in history, it'd be Jim Jones. That dude would tell me some soup
And the chimpanzee.
and the chimpanzee. Oh, fuck. Oh, I can't remember his name because they killed him in Jonestown. They shot him in the back of the head. Oh, it was like Bubbles or some shit
something like that.
because he kept a monkey the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
It was a church for mapes.
L. Ron Hubbard didn't have a chimpanzee. He had a yacht.
No, he had a derelict ship powered by children.
Yes.
And,
The
another
Sea
fuck-
Org.
Yeah, the Sea Org. But yeah, going back to Jonestown, like this guy,
Yeah.
he had the spirit in him, along with methamphetamine and cocaine
And underage women and children. And men.
Yeah, everybody forgets that part.
Yeah, everybody forgets that part.
He's into dudes.
He's into anything.
I think I remember reading a story on that where like Jim Jones comes up to a guy, goes like, "Hey, you wanna?" And the guy's just like, "What?"
He's like, if you want me to, I will.
Yeah.
And then and the guy's like, I'm good, Jim. Word. Like that was the first. I bet that was the first time someone ever said word and like walked away.
I'm sure Jim Jones just like, okay. If you
whatever.
you know where I am if you need anything.
I think my favorite story about Jim Jones is like he's literally in the church and he takes the Bible and throws it down the aisle and starts stomping on it like a WWF wrestler and just doing that fucking bah, bah, bah. And he's like, God will do nothing to stop me. And it's just like, whoa, dude, you are
Hardcore.
You are way deep into your own bullshit.
Yep.
That would have been the moment I'm just like, that's cool. Thanks for the crackers and juice. It's been fun. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I would have probably left earlier because it's probably a bored service, but you got to say, what a hell of a show.
I don't think L. Ron Hubbard does that. or
L.
did
Ron
anything
Hubbard
like-
could barely move.
Yeah, he could. Well, he was very like he was just kind of like was very subtle with his charisma and drawing people in person. You know,
He was more of a Jabba the Hutt.
yeah, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Could your Blackberry French fries?
I am
Oh, the
not-
cops are here?
no.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, they say I'm not allowed in Australia.
Fuck him. It's like those little angry spurts he always had before he went nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what happened too. Like everywhere but the United States, he and Scientology as a whole was just completely banned.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't allow him in Europe. They wouldn't allow him in.
Well, he's on the coast of Europe for a while, off the coast of Spain, and they're just like, you need to fucking leave.
Yeah, you can't.
Or
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
going to make you leave. And back then, it's if a country makes you leave during the Cold War,
Yeah,
you're dead in the water in the fucking Atlantic in no time. Like, they will let you die. And like with both of those, you have one who has a hardcore Christian background, because Jim Jones grew up asking questions, which
Yes.
is something you didn't do in early Christianity in the 50s and 40s and stuff. But he was a child preacher. Like, he figured out the game very quickly.
And doing faith healings and stuff is where he started
That's
out with
fascinating.
the tent revival circuit. And when you take that to a community that's never seen it, that's never grown up with it, and then you bring it to like mainstream California
Yeah.
in the 60s and the 70s, who's
What-
never seen it.
It's a charismatic
Yes.
Midwest or even Southern version of evangelicalism, which is faith healing.
Yeah.
The South is filled with it. The
Yeah.
South is filled with faith healers. Laying of hands is the basis of proving my religion exists. And it's a psychosomatic thing. You had sent me a video earlier today of this poor woman falling to the ground after speaking in tongues and just filled with the Holy Spirit.
And I'm
or
guessing-
stroke,
and
whatever.
I'm guessing you didn't watch the rest of it, where 3 or 4 more people fall.
Yeah, but I've seen it before. I've seen it with Snake Handlers, which is a hell of a show.
Those
Coming
those
to the
worry me.
milestone this Tuesday afternoon. Fucking snake healing, baby. Oh, the whole soundtrack's just Motley Crue. But who they went to call Dr. Feel Good?
and it's just like one e-girl just like dancing.
Yeah.
just by herself.
But like, that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
With tent preachers, evangelicals doing the faith healing, doing the laying of hands, and all that. That is a show. That is almost more entertaining than going to see a rock band. Like, I will, like, in my opinion, I could see Rob Zombie live, or I could watch Jim Jones. I'm going to pick Jim Jones because I got to know. I got to see like who the people he's picking.
I mean, a lot of comedians start off as tent preachers or like as performers on stage at the church.
Yeah, Mike
Sam
Rabin-
Kinison.
Yeah, Sam.
That's what
Sam Kinison. Like, could you your more extreme, like loud comedians are doing that because it's all about a show. I think people would know it's kind of a weird thing. It's like before microphones and amps, you just had to yell at the audience as loud as possible and tell them that God chose them to tell you about something you should already know. And that is the best fucking storyline of a preacher. And you guys talking about your favorite Scientology and Jim Jones. I think there's a good dichotomy between those two because Scientology gets you in through subtleness. Hey, I know it's bad out there. Let me talk to you about this. And the word Scientology itself is a fallacy.
Yeah.
Because Scientology sounds reasonable. There was literally a group of people called the Reasonableists.
It sounds like it's based off the word science.
Yes, and science is very practical. Science can change. Beliefs in science can change. Just look at the fucking Kennedys. They believed in eugenics, and now they don't believe. And now they don't believe in riding with the top up.
Whoa, you're gonna attack the royal family of the Americas.
What's left of them?
Yeah. Well, what's left of them? You can go after RFK hard. I don't get RK Jr. hard.
Yeah,
that dude's crazy.
Yeah, but he has a great drug policy. But when you're talking about Scientology, there is a pseudoscience involved, but it's still science to them. Evangelicals is all about faith in yourself and faith in the man putting his goddamn hands on you. And that's also psychosomatic. We know this because people have been able to fix themselves through their own mind. It could be an issue like a placebo effect kind of thing. Catholics have embraced this knowledge when it comes to exorcism in the 20th century is, all right, we'll do an exorcism, but she has to see like a psychologist first just to be sure she doesn't have like some horrible fucking mental disorder. Or, yeah, it's probably a devil.
Well, one thing with two different approaches with Jim Jones and L. Ron Hubbard too, in that you mentioned spoken word with Jim Jones. With L. Ron Hubbard, it was all about his writing, and he would lure people in with Dianetics and a lot of his writings because everybody knows he was a science fiction writer before he founded Scientology. But that was his whole thing: is all the text and all the things that you had to spend money on and read. There's required reading in Scientology, and somehow it still continues to grow.
You've heard the joke of how Scientology came to be.
It was with L. Ron Hubbard and somebody else, where he says makes the joke about starting his own church to avoid taxes or something like that. You could probably tell it better.
The kind of, it's not true, but it was a story hopping around that him and Robert Heinlein, one of the greatest sci-fi writers of his time, who wrote Stranger in a Strange Land, Starship Troopers, Far Home Freehold, and he wrote all these books, and he's talking to L. Ron Hubbard at some sci-fi convention or something, and it says, "I bet you can't make your own religion." Heinlein says that to L. Ron Hubbard, and Hubbard's probably like, yeah, I can.
Yeah, and they took the challenge, and that's
the joke. That's the joke.
Right.
I think L. Ron Hubbard grew up in that generation who realized there's money in religion, first and foremost.
Well, he was not wrong.
Yeah, no, there's always money because it's tax-free. Look at Joel Osteen.
Yeah.
They got $30,000 just fucking in the bathroom walls that a plumber just finds by accident.
Must we look at Joel Osteen? I'm just saying.
You know what's fascinating about him is he's not quite like a Creflo Dollar or that other guy whose whole face is held on by glue. I'm trying to remember his name. But Joel Osteen is actually in a weird predicament because I believe Joel Osteen is a true believer. But I also believe he loves fucking money. So
the ultimate dilemma.
So I believe he's playing kind of a rough game going forward. Like, it's kind of like watching the Righteous Gemstones.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I think he's in a John Goodman part of his life where he's just like that dilemma of just like, look, I built this up. I know I'm doing it for the money now, but in the beginning, I was really about the whole thing. And I think he's just stuck now being that preacher guy.
Now, do you think Jim Jones found himself in that situation before he started doing meth hardcore and really started going off the edge?
Jim Jones believed himself since day one. I truly believe that. I believe Jim Jones truly believed in everything that came out of his fucking mouth. See, that's the thing. Is like, you can still be a liar, but still believe the bullshit. Musicians do it all the time. Fuck it. Tell me a musician doesn't do it. Tell me.
I'm sure they all do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they all do it.
Oh, yeah. I could do another tour. I could do it.
I could fly out to fucking Asia and do one show. It'd be fine. Ozzy, stay the fuck home. You're 78 years old.
Sharon, back up, bitch. What did you say to me? Nothing.
No.
But like, it's that true belief, man, and you're not going to take him off of it. Shinrikyo, same fucking thing. The leader of Shinrikyo totally believed his old bullshit. Yeah, we'll kill them all, and all that's left is Shinrikyo. We'll get nuclear bombs.
That guy definitely believed.
Yeah, and what did they do? They
he
found him in a fucking hole with some money and a gun, and like Saddam had it better. Like by the end. And then they executed the son of a bitch.
I think that
That's just a theory of mine, though.
Well, I can't speak about the Shinrikyo thing, but I definitely agree that Jim Jones believed it. I don't know if... I think he didn't have a choice there at the end. Because I literally think that, like when you said he was stomping on the Bible, I really think he was literally waiting to see.
I think he was testing the faith.
Yeah.
I think he was testing the faith, not in a sense of other people's faith. I think he was testing the fact that whether God exists at all. Mm-hmm. And his situation that he built around himself, because it went south so quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just made it worse for himself. I think he wanted to die, and I think he thought that if heaven does exist, I can take him with me. I think that's totally a great example is Heaven's Gate.
Yep.
Heaven's Gate mixed science fiction and Christianity get together into a meld, much like Scientology does when it comes to like structure. But theirs was Jesus was real. He was an alien, but he was real. And it was Heaven's Gate. It's just like, hey, we got a chance to ascend to the heavens and be something better than this human form. And yeah, Applewhite believed that shit totally. And then before all that, his wife died. That sent him down a downward spiral. So he's grabbing everybody straight to hell with him. Like I got to take him with me.
I don't want to be by myself.
Well, it's just that it's like if I killed myself, I just look like a loon. Like I can't do that.
I mean,
but think about it. If you're going to get a cult leader who's going to kill himself, he's got to take people with him, or he just looks like a fucking psycho. That's a fact. That's how cults work. The children of God, same way.
Yeah.
We can't let this kid kill us all.
Yeah.
If we get him to commit suicide and maybe take one of us, then we can use him as a martyr, which ended up happening. Children of God still around today.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought of when you were talking about Scientology, I think the reason that L. Ron Hubbard did so much writing and so much of his required reading is if L. Ron Hubbard would have pulled a Jim Jones and said, hey, everybody come listen to me talk, it wouldn't have been as powerful.
No, if you've watched an interview with the guy, he just has no stage presence, no charisma, no performance, charisma or anything like that. The guy just
Joie de vivre.
Yeah,
he doesn't have it.
I kind of compare him to somebody like a Rasputin and even a Donald Trump. Bear with me, in that they just kind of Forrest Gump their way into all the successes that happened to them, and then they get off. L. Ron Hubbard never really faced any. Scientology kept going, and after he died, it only got bigger. Got a lot more money, and I don't know if it ever got it got bigger, but now they're just they're at a point now where it's with David Miscavige where the money's all there from
no one knows
previous
what that little
donors.
motherfucker is.
Exactly. Now this is an ongoing thing now with David Miscavige, but I don't know. Would you agree with that he was kind of like a somebody that just kind of willed himself into situations, just got whatever he wanted just through sheer will?
I see L. Ron Hubbard as a car salesman.
Yeah.
They gave me the booklet. I never drove the car, but I could sell the motherfucker. I could sell it all goddamn day.
I can see that.
Because you know what car salesmen are? They're not car guys.
No.
And they can't sell cars to car guys. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. Every car salesman you ever met doesn't know shit about a vehicle other than it has this, this, and this, and we can add this, this, and this. That's it. And guess what? This is what your monthly payment's going to be. This is how much you can put down. Sign on the dotted line. And what L. Ron Hubbard did, he created a book that only he would understand, sold it to you as an answer. Hey, everything you need in life is in this book. Buy the book, and then come to my seminar, and I'll tell you everything you want to know about that book and how to read it and how to understand it. And then, when you get to that tippy-top fucking level, I'm going to add some chapters for money, and then you can do it all over again.
And then you got to come over after you read that book where we get to ask you all kinds of uncomfortable questions.
Yeah, so he cornered the market the way the Catholics did when it came to guilt. Like, I need you to tell me every bad thing you've ever done. And that's what he did. The Path talks about this perfectly on the Hulu series. Hey, we're going to have confession time. You're going to tell me about every bad thing you ever did. I'm going to record it. I'm going to lord it over you. A great example of this is recently, John Travolta has came out as homosexual. People have kind of...
Good for him.
You know why he came out now? It's because Scientology has been lording that over him since the 70s.
Yep.
Because if it came out that John Travolta was gay in the 70s, he would never act again.
No, it would ruin his career.
He'd probably get killed. Or end up hanging out with like David Bowie or something. Whatever floats your boat.
I'd watch that music video.
Yeah, because Freddie Mercury would have been in it, and it would have been the best thing
Saturday
ever.
Night Fever, but it's fucking Starman.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, it's like that is the thing that happened to him. His whole life was cornered into a box because these people made it so. But that's a whole different aspect as opposed to Jim Jones, where you can leave. You got 5 goddamn minutes before I send the dogs after you, but you can leave.
Yeah,
he can fucking leave.
Ask that one senator.
Yeah, ask that one senator. Well, we would. But he took a couple AK rounds to the back.
Yeah, about that.
And this is kind of a weird thing I always thought about. It's just like, so think about it. Let's compare the different generations real quick. in the 70s, a sitting senator from one of the largest fucking states
Yeah.
went to South America and was murdered by a cult leader. Okay.
Now, hang on a minute. That sitting senator went to South America because a whole bunch of his constituents,
Wanted him to go down there.
families,
Yeah.
were concerned about their loved ones, and they went to him, and he goes, hey, y'all are all concerned. I'm going to go down there myself
This is back when senators had some fucking nuts, too. I will say this.
with the secretary and
Yeah.
maybe a couple other people.
If people are listening to this, there was a time when senators had some fucking nuts on them who actually did some shit, who actually got in the goddamn streets and got their asses kicked, who did stuff to help their constituents. Harvey Milk, who got fucking blasted by a fucking homophobe because he was like, I think gay bars are okay to have in San Francisco. So, no! Pop, 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 pop. You know, like they say, yeah,
Yeah, Reagan times.
yeah. Dianne Feinstein, who's a living mummy now, has been riding that coattail for, 7 decades? But like, you had senators who actually did shit. You know,
Yeah.
you had people who were on the ground doing stuff. They didn't have, delegates doing their fucking job for them. You had people that were well spoken, educated, how to handle situations. And this guy goes all the way down to South America, the land that God forgot, and
with a camera crew.
was murdered on camera.
Yeah.
Murdered on camera. Now, let's play it like it's 2023. The dishonorable senator, what's that cocksucker's name from North Carolina?
Oh, God.
The one with the funny name who doesn't pronounce it right.
From North Carolina senator.
Was it Tillerson? No. Anyway, let's
What
say
if Lindsey Graham?
Lindsey Graham. Hi, y'all. I'm going down to Ecuador.
I'm gonna bring my little ladybugs with me.
Yeah. Let's say Lindsey Graham decides to sack the fuck up and go all the way to another country
I want to watch this movie so bad.
and then proceeds to get murked by the leader of a fucking cult.
Oh no!
No. What do you think the measured response should be?
The measured response should be
White phosphorus the whole fucking forest until we kill every fucking cultist from the shore to the mountain.
That's not what it should be. But that's probably what it would be.
Yeah, because that's what America does.
Yeah, especially present day
But somehow a
world
sitting
police America.
But somehow a sitting president, senator, gets killed,
and
then
nothing happens.
the government knows this and sends a paltry force. They know ahead of time this is a 900 strong cult in the jungle who are true believers. They were lucky that these people killed themselves because can you imagine how south that would have went if a bunch of American commandos showed up in Uruguay with guns to take down Jim Jones and his 900 strong cult?
Oh man, it would have made Waco look like
That would have been a Waco because David Koresh would have saw that as a kid like, no, that's a bad idea. I don't want to get killed by a soldier from Nebraska who's been doing push-ups and taking pop shots at potatoes all fucking week. Like, David Koresh would be like, Christianity might be a bad idea. Like, but because he succeeded, but because David Koresh or Jim Jones succeeded into what he wanted to do, that's why you have your David Koreshes. That's why you have your Ant Hill kids, because they see shit like that. Yeah, I can buck the man. I can even kill one of their people and get away with it. Because he got away with it. In all intents and purposes, Jim Jones got away scot-free.
Yeah.
He took a bullet to the head that he didn't even do. He just had one of his guys. Hey, Timmy, you got me? Yeah, bud. I got you. White Knights, all that shit. Takes a hit of Coke. Takes a hit of fucking Kool-Aid. Pop, and dies.
who wins in a big just J.R.R. Tolkien style fucking battle
of Five
formation.
Armies, kinda thing. Jim Jones, man.
The Jim Jones army or L. Ron Hubbard in the Sea Org with
What's fascinating about the Sea Org is it's kind of like how Mormonism is set up. Like me and you, all of us couldn't just be Mormons. We could join, but we wouldn't be allowed in the temple.
We have to be a whole
vetting process. You know, you have to, rent out certain things. You probably have to get married to somebody in the church or get married before you're
at least
in the church.
one person.
Yeah, at least one. Everybody gets one. But you have to be a part of that just to rise into the rank. Like it's even a rank and file. Jim Jones, technically everybody's equal, and that's what pissed off a lot of people to begin with.
Yeah.
He played the game perfectly. I need blacks and whites to get along
Right.
for mine to work, because if they get along, now the government can get the fuck out of my business. Because out of all the terrible shit that happens in these cults, other than Scientology, they've done good things. Jim Jones did good things in Indianapolis. He did good things in his hometown. A good portion of this is people talking about, hey, when I lived in Indianapolis, there were times I couldn't pay rent. And Jim Jones, had a Wednesday service, and guess what? He put that money in my fucking hand. He paid water bills. He paid outstanding fucking power bills. He did things that you would expect a church to do for its congregation. And it was all, and it's socialism to its highest degree. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody come together for the good of the one. Let's make sure everyone stays afloat, and we can all do this together. There are some churches that do it now, which are, fun fact, a lot of churches in the South will pool their money together and buy someone's medical debt and forgive it. If that's the best idea of a church,
Yeah.
then yeah, so be it. That's it. That's a perfect idea, because if I got a congregation of all ages, and someone who's deeply loved in the congregation has cancer, guess what? Even when I was a kid, it was just like, no, you make some food or have a fundraiser or something like that. A lot of churches do this, but when you have someone like Jim Jones doing it for a mixed race of people, he's created a utopia damn near.
In the 50s.
Yeah, in the 50s, which was very bad. I don't have to describe the mantra of the 50s, which was white is white, black is not white.
I was going to say there was a genre called race music in the 50s.
Yeah. Well, let's go into music real quick. That's another thing. Jim Jones had a band. David Koresh had a band.
L. Ron Hubbard or the Sea Org had a band.
A funk fusion band.
Yes.
And they were cool. They were
good. It's 70s jazz fusion. It rules.
Check it out. It is actually good. If he had stuck with that, it would have been fine. Everybody wouldn't have gave a fuck.
And do I need to be the one to remind you guys that Charles Manson did music?
Oh yeah, that's all.
Bad music.
That's all he wanted to do.
He was just really bad at it.
Yeah.
And the Beach Boys were better.
But he had the one guy that didn't play on any of the fucking Pet Sounds and Dennis Wilson.
Yeah,
Dennis Wilson. The reject.
Yeah, just, the psychopath.
Yeah.
But he's playing on desperation, just like Scientology. Scientology was, we're in a bad spot, especially in the 50s. Mental health is not in a good place. We do in a history we forgot where we talk about circumstances of this, where places are in the timeline of things. Dr. Friedman is running around in the 50s, popping people in the face with a giant needle and a hammer, fixing their brains.
A quote unquote lobotomy.
I can fix you. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Oh, she's hey, my wife's talking back.
Did she read too much? Is it because
she's reading too much and she's talking back?
I can fix that. Eric, get my needle. Yes, master. I got you.
Chrissy's like, I hate you both, but
But think about that. You got people getting fucking popped in the goddamn brainstem, and it's either that or this fat Jabba the Hutt motherfucker with this weird little book he said he can straighten me out for like $13 an hour. Like, yeah.
In 50s money.
And I love
In 50s money.
And I love L. Ron Hubbard's idea of just like, who else is in the game? Psychiatrists are in the game.
Yep.
What if I said psychiatrists are worthless and in fact make you worse? Guess what? He just cornered the fucking. It's Pepsi and Coke now. He mastered that shit.
So you can tell them all your problems and confess all your sins. It's a similar setup, but how do they phrase it? Where it's instead of your sins, it's your thetans.
So let's go into basic belief. So Jim Jones is a basic Christian belief. The golden rule above all, which if you're religious a lot, you need to believe in the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have unto yourself.
Don't fuck with me.
Which is, ironically, not a religious thing.
No, it's just a simple fucking thing.
It's actually, it came from Aesop.
Yeah.
It's a riddle from Aesop.
Yeah.
Which it's just been adopted by Christian theology.
Yeah, but it's also the golden rule of society.
Yeah.
Treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like that day is this like, what would you be a murderer if you weren't a Christian? It's like, no, because I don't want to murder someone. It's not the fear of hell that's stopping me from doing it, or the law. It's just I don't feel like murdering someone today. It's a Ricky Gervais argument. It's just like, if I was a Christian, I would rape as many people as I want, which is 0. That's the amount of people I want to rape. Like that's I don't need this to keep me from doing it. But with Jim Jones, it's the old school Christianity, that old time religion. It's pedaled from the rivers of Mississippi all the way to the tents. But with L. Ron Hubbard, though,
if L. Ron Hubbard, you become the Godhead. He took it's almost like he took the Aleister Crowley approach, which is
it's chaos magic.
Chaos magic mixed with Satanist beliefs.
Yeah, it's not even Satanist beliefs. It's this freedom belief. This idea of us like, I control my destiny to the umpteenth degree. Let me tell you how to control it, though.
Right, exactly.
That's the game he's spilling.
He took the Aleister Crowley quote where it's like, "Do as thou will, as the will of the law. Love is the will of the law." I'm probably butchering it right now, but it's basically, do your own thing.
Yeah, I think the proverb "protect your neck"
Yes,
was somewhere in there.
Do you, girl?
Yeah,
basically.
Live from 36 Chambers. But I think
the Jizza,
the RZA, the Jizza. Behold the prophet, Ghostface Killer, and Method Man.
Amen. Let the church say amen.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang.
Children.
Wu-Tang. Hands up.
We made Chris laugh.
I thought of something terrible just now. I just pictured Method Man in a church. Pussies up! What did he say?
ODB's just with Jim Jones doing the singing thing he does.
Yeah, just old dirty preacher.
Dirty preacher.
But like with Scientology, it's a marketing game. Mm-hmm. I need to sell you something. That's my game. Let's put some money in some pockets. You know what I'm saying? And I think he did it to where he could kind of support his own dreams of it. He could bullshit enough to live free. And I think that's pretty much how I see L. Ron Hubbard. This guy who, it's not that he's overconfident. He's perfectly confident to what he can do, and then he did it. He's no different than like a car salesman or anything like that.
Yeah, politicians, anybody that kind of talk their way up.
But he saw the cracks in the system where he could make his money, which was a church. Let me make a church, and I'll never have to pay taxes again. I'll fight tooth and nail to prove that I'm a church. And, on a conspiracy, and he did do that. Operation Snow White, which was a Scientology operation to have Scientology members infiltrate the IRS to prevent IRS agents to going after Scientology.
Yeah, that's the thing too with Scientology. They have
it's fascinating that they didn't kill all of them immediately.
Well, they have crews for everybody, or they have guys that keep tabs on people that leave the church. Mm-hmm. I think they call them squirrels or something like that.
So you have nutters, who are the people that go after them.
Squirrels, nuts.
So there are people who practice Scientology without being part of the organization of Ron Hubbard, David Miscavige. And those people are seen as heretics. History, we've learned what heretics are Martin Luther, the Amsterdam Church of Baptisms, or Baptists, your Methodists, your Presbyterians, Episcopalians. These were all heretics at one time because they weren't down with the main game. And fun fact about Jim Jones, what he was doing in Indianapolis was considered heresy. Mm-hmm. What he was doing considered to the rest of the evangelical community throughout the South and West, they were not cool with Jim Jones's interracial church. Down here, you're not going to see a lot of interracial churches today. There was my grandpa's church when I was growing up, my great-grandpa's church, in the middle of the hood on 7th Street, all white. There was a church across the way, all black. And guess what? They were both Baptist churches.
So I was where I grew up too.
That's just old little nutbush.
Yep.
But no, so he was kind of bucking the odds on his game. Mm-hmm. So now he has a reason, and spite is a great fucking reason. Just like David Koresh, the original people of the Branch Davidians were not cool with him, except for the main lady, and she died. And now you have a break-off point with the Branch Davidians. It's like people that are with David and people are with the other guy. Well, the other guy went nuts and threatened to kill the judge, so he's gone.
Yeah.
So now it's either David's way or the fucking highway. So it's David's way, and that's kind of the quick story of Waco.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line. Would you like a Dr. Pepper? But with some of these, let's talk about a lesser one. The Rajneeshis.
I think this one might be your favorite.
I respect the Rajneeshis because people keep forgetting what the American dream is. I get real fucking tired of that. Our parents, our grandparents.
Incoming rant.
Here's a rant. Yeah, you're gonna fucking hear it. Raise your hand if you have Irish blood.
Hands up.
Raise your hand if you got German blood. Hands fucking down.
I got a hand up.
No, they can't raise a hand up anymore for obvious fucking reasons. Hands down. Basically, European, raise your fucking hand up. And guess what? They had some problems when they came here, didn't they? Except for those Puritans. They seem to be coasting along pretty well. Goddamn natives in my way. But no, every generation of people have a problem coming here. Period. But what's the American dream? I'm going to make it on my own.
Yeah.
That's it.
Freedom.
Freedom. Freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05.
Unless you're L. Ron Hubbard.
Unless you're L. Ron Hubbard. It costs $13.99 an hour.
For you.
For just you. And when you're 2 million deep, I'm going to add some lessons. But
It seems to be working for Tom Cruise. He's jumping out of airplanes. He's fucking...
Tom Cruise is going to live forever, man.
Yeah. He's going clearer by the minute.
In all seriousness, I wouldn't doubt that, let's say something happened to David Miscavige, that Tom Cruise would be the next leader of Scientology.
Who else would it be?
Well, it's not going to be Shelley Miscavige, that's for sure. She disappeared like a fart in the wind. They even tried to fake her not long ago.
I remember.
Yeah. Hey, we found Shelley. Is it Shelley? No.
Hell, so John Travolta's out. What's her name from Kings of Queens is out.
Leah Remini.
Leah Remini.
Michael Pena's still in it.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Masterson's still in it. He's in prison.
He's in jail, so it's definitely going to be Top Cruise if it comes down between him and...
Top Cruise, yeah. Top
Cruise.
Top Cruise.
He's topping everybody.
Yeah, but no, like, the Wild Wild Country saw me, when I saw it, I was like, okay, she immigrated to America. They bought a terrible piece of land and turned it into something. Think about that.
They built a town.
Yeah. You came to a shithole. David Koresh turned a small little place of shacks, tore all the shacks down, and built a compound. Those people said they fucking loved it. And guess what? They weren't bothering nobody, technically, other than when David Koresh went to the bars and started playing Bad Company. But, like, other than that...
And, marrying the underage girls.
Yeah, but they were true believers, so it doesn't really fucking matter what they think. Yeah, the law and whatnot.
And then consent. Consent's a thing.
Well, in Texas at that time, he met the consent law, so that's more of a Texas problem.
Hey, I'm just saying
Hey, if
consent.
you're really into
I don't care.
14-year-olds, you can go to Texas. Just saying, it's still there. But
yeah, communes and...
no, they in all intents and purposes, they took a shitty part of land.
Middle of nowhere, Oregon.
And this is part of Oregon you don't talk about. This is eastern Oregon that's in the desert of Idaho. They turned that shit around. When they got there, 50 people lived there?
Something like that.
And they turned it around. And guess what? Now there's forests there. There's rivers. There's grasslands. They've changed a whole area of the country into a arid piece of shit into a thriving goddamn forest.
And adopted all the homeless.
Yeah.
That lived out there too. Yes. Chrissy's like shaking her head laughing. This happened. The homeless they took the homeless people in this town and
we need
until it got bad.
We need votes, goddammit.
Yes. I forgot about that.
But no, think about this. How is it different than Southern Baptists who take over a whole fucking town?
Or Jim Jones starting a whole commune in the middle of nowhere where he's at.
Or just going to San Francisco starting a church, or Indianapolis. There's nothing illegal that they're doing. In fact, the first shots rang out when local yokels took pop shots at them.
In Wild Wild Country.
Wild Country.
Yes.
The Rajneeshis looked around and said, "Look, the Americans, we're here, we're brand new, we need to defend ourselves." You know who else did this? The fucking Mormons. They did it in a horrific fucking way.
Yeah.
But they did it. They defended themselves to the umpteenth degree. It's no different than Southern blacks defending themselves against the KKK. Or in L.A. with Malcolm X in New York to L.A.
Or David Koresh against the ATF.
It's a little different with David Koresh. He took his time. Yeah. But, like, there's no difference between these people in that setting. There are people that are trying to murder them. Let's not. It's not a joke around about it. They were almost murdered on their own land. If you was to do that story today of a bunch of Christians who had like a summer camp and locals were taking pop shots at them, that would be the #1 news story. Hey, fuck aliens. Fuck that. I want to know about what's going on in this fucking town.
And you got a hyper Christian Timothy McVeigh just.
He's a couple Christian.
Years
he
later.
was just like bombing shit, and he was disillusioned about the government, and he was skinny as fuck, and couldn't get laid.
That's the thing about the disillusion in government and your rulers breeds all these cults too.
And his best friend was an asshole, Timothy Nichols. But what is it called? Sovereign citizens. Yeah, that's what what Timothy Nichols was. But when they come about the scene, they have their religion. In fact, their
Rajneeshis, right?
The Rajneeshis. They span all over the country, but guess what? Their headquarters are now in Antelope, Oregon.
Yeah, it was India, right?
That's where Osho, the leader, was.
Right.
His second in command, Ma Anand Sheela, he picked the perfect second hand because you can't tell me there's been another second hand in command better than her. Goebbels didn't have a hand in this motherfucker.
What did you say? I think we know who Chris's celebrity crush is.
Dude, she's American as fuck.
She is, though.
She's the most modern American you can think
With
of.
thick-
I came to a country, I got me some land, I got me a fucking job. Granted, it's a lady, crazy preacher, but it got me a job. I changed my community around. I changed it. That's the thing. Change the community for the better. Not like Jim Jones, who was just like, I want to build up a church and then fucking leave. Not like Waco, where it's just like, I want to seclude myself and make guns. It's like, no, I changed the landscape of a country, and you're going to take pop shots at me? I'll be goddamn. In fact, I want to teach my people to use guns. I want to teach them how to make salmonella. I want to teach them what my God's all about. And this is like, chill, bitch.
I'm in Hickville, Oregon, where there's guns for days.
Guns for days and trailers making biological weapons.
It's not just Portland.
Yep. Fuck your Shakey's Pizza. I'm closing that motherfucker. But yeah, that's where I lost it. Where she decided to make biological weapons. I think you took a knife to kill a fly kind of situation.
Because wasn't their whole thing, wasn't it like tantric sex cult or something like that?
In a way, there was a lot of peace and love.
Yeah, there's a lot of hippy dippy stuff. There's a lot of tantric sex. There's a combination. It was here.
But fun fact, the daughter of the senator who was killed by Jim Jones was part of that cult.
No way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she was in there.
yeah, she was down with that shit. But like she made something of herself. Granted, she became a criminal and had to flee to Switzerland.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's alive in Switzerland. She's just chilling. But if you want to talk about a religious persecution, that's a perfect example. Because what they did to the leader was fucking horrific. Mm-hmm. So,
Happened here in North Carolina.
yeah, it happened here in North Carolina, Mississippi, and Texas.
Yep.
So they took the leader, Osho, arrested him, didn't feed him for days. This is an old man. Mm-hmm. Took him to North Carolina first, put him in a cell, then put him in a cell with a man infected with HIV, fucking AIDS.
Yep.
And then took him to Texas to hang out for a little bit. This is a federal inmate. This is not some state inmate. This guy is under federal charges, under the protection of the United States government. And they are torturing this old man. Because why? Because they had a little cult out in the middle of the fucking woods that decided to protect themselves with as much availability as possible.
Now, this was the 80s, too, right?
It bled into the 80s.
Okay, so late
you're talking about
70s,
people
early
from the
80s.
70s who were just chilling. I will say, fashion, not their biggest strong suit.
No.
Orange, cream colored, along with burgundy vests, but the Uzi really held it together. Like the Uzi and the Aviators really brought the whole
It
thing
really
together.
makes the colors pop a little bit.
In fact, your dad, I'm looking at your younger version of your dad, Christy, and he looks like he would rock the Rajneeshi cult. Like, I could see him with some Aviators and a Uzi just being like, do it. Fucking do it.
Let's see. I would have been
Come down to the
5
Piggly motherfucker. I got your name. I got your ass.
So ironically enough, in the picture that you're looking at, I would have been 5 years old, and I was born in '86.
yeah.
So that would have probably been fairly close, time period wise.
Well, your dad's nickname is Hippie. So,
Yeah.
but no, like as like they did a lot of horrific shit.
Yeah, they did.
But when you box someone in like that, yeah, that's gonna fucking happen. But go back to Jim Jones though. He starts doing faith healing
Yeah.
in a way, but he's also doing this thing. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Bull baiting, which is the same thing Scientology does, which is, hey, Christy Cap, I really need you to bully Chris as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did, and that's a cohesion method that was used by Sion and all those weird children camps.
Yeah, just guilt somebody into.
Well, it's bullying someone into submission. A great example is the a website online right now. I think it's the Jonestown Archives. Yeah, which is all recordings and videos from the Jim Jones group from as early as the early '60s, and it's recordings of his sermons and stuff. And there's some like vitriolic stuff coming out of those places.
Yeah, you can get that on black markets on vinyl.
Well, it's
and stuff
it's free
like
online.
that too.
Like, it's a whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
like a lot of it is degrading someone in front of everybody in the church, and that's what he would do. He would pick up this one girl, this woman. How dare she do this one thing? Everyone just jump on her. They're beating a woman. They're spanking a woman on the dais of the church, and she's begging forgiveness, and she's having people from the church do it to her.
And it's a big. We were talking about what 900 or something like that in the
Well,
commune.
this is before it becomes a commune, but this is back when it's in
okay.
the church, like
Yeah.
in the actual buildings, in the churches. Was, hey, this woman fucked up. She broke one of Jim's rules, not the commandments. She broke one of Jim's rules, and we really need to put her in her fucking place. And these people stayed because that's how that works. Scientology is the same way. And in a society kind of thing, it's kind of plays out the same. It's just like, oh, kids have it too easy. Back in my day, I got a fucking punch in the mouth from the teacher. Well, back in the day, that was fucked up still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason we don't do that shit anymore. There's a reason we don't have Catholic nuns splitting fucking rulers over kids' hands anymore, because that's fucking horrific. But it's that, we have that in society. It's like, even I catch myself sometimes, these fucking kids are weak as shit. Especially when she's telling me about her kids in her classes. I'm just like, they're weak-willed. Why are they crying watching Jim Jones? I didn't fucking cry. And it's just like, oh, wait, I'm pucked in the mind.
Well, one of the things, I watched a documentary series recently, and they talked about Jonestown, and this was one that I didn't even know about. Another one of those times where they did that. Jim called a man and a woman up in front of the congregation. That was when they were in Redwood Valley, where there were a ton of people there.
This man wanted me to suck his dick.
Close.
Yeah.
They were in their 20s, and they had both been caught sleeping together, and they were in a relationship. They had been dating.
Heretics.
Jim Jones said that they had gone behind his back and started a relationship, and that he did not approve the relationship.
Well, he also structured relationships in the church.
Yeah. So he told them that he was going to have them perform sex with each other in front of the entire congregation with no clothes on.
Oh, Jesus.
That's how you teach sex ed.
Yeah.
And the man said, I will take a beating, and I will take the same beating that you would give her to keep this from happening.
He'd rather get beat by everybody. He'd rather get beat to death in front of everybody than have sex in front of everybody.
No, he said he would take his beating and her beating.
And her beating.
To
That's
keep
love
from
right
this.
there.
That's love. Yeah.
That's love.
And Jim said, okay. So
I would. You know what I would have done? Exactly. If I was just, because I would be the newcomer guy. I know I would be. I would show up and just like, oh, you wee fucker in front of God and everybody. Oh, folks, do you hear that? I think God's talking to me. I think He wants me to shiv Jim Jones. I feel the Spirit rolling through him. I'm just like moving around like a fucking Pentecostal, just taking my tie off as I wrap it around that stupid fuck's neck. It's like, God's telling me to do it. Shh, you hear that? That's God telling him to be quiet, going back home to Jesus. And like everybody would just be fucking horrified to watching a man get strangled to death. Look at his eyes, and it's like, ah! And they all just melt like in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh my God, yes. Well, that was another thing. Like a thing about Jim Jones was, he told them that they couldn't see his eyes because they would see the eyes of the Lord.
Yep.
That's how he hit it. Joseph Smith did the same shit with the plates of Nephi. Oh, if you were to see him, you would burst into flames.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like, his best friend's wife's like, fuck it, I don't care. Let me show him to me, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I got to know. Like, you lying little cocksucker. Tell me. Show him to me. I don't care if my plane explodes. I don't give a fuck. And then she was allowed in Mormonism.
She's like, actually, you're just as powerful as I am. How about that?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
But like Dianetics was the same way. You can't know the rungs of the ladder on this one. You can't learn how to get your thetans right unless Elron taught you how to do it. And then Elron had people he delegated this to who are also believing the fucking bullshit and drinking the Kool-Aid. And no, you can't be cool with it unless you pay money. Did you ever watch there's a movie actually about this called The Master. Did you ever see it? It had Philip Seymour Hoffman and
No.
Joaquin Phoenix. Fantastic movie. It's an analogy for Scientology.
Okay,
Philip
all right, I gotta see
Philip
this.
Seymour Hoffman plays the L. Ron Hubbard character.
No fucking way.
And it's fantastic because Joaquin Phoenix is suffering mentally, and he goes to this man for help, and it's fucking horrific.
Do they do all the parallels where they're reading, getting the
Well, he boxes
thetan
him
readings?
in mentally.
and-
He boxes Joaquin Phoenix in mentally, and to where even Joaquin, what are you doing to me? Please, I'm just asking for help. He's like, you're almost there. You're almost at the finish line, and he keeps egging this poor fuck on. There's even a scene where a guy questions the master's, techniques, and he's just like, well, can you prove it's not working? Well, no, because I can't prove a negative, you son of a bitch. Like, he plays that game, It's just like, can you prove that the Holy Spirit's not in me? And that's how cult leaders work. That's how conspiracy theory works. That's like,
Yep.
look, the Earth's flat. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm like, that's the fucking problem, dumbass. Like, you're telling me anything evidence I show you, you're just going to be like, spherist,
Nuh-uh.
globalist, Jew. It's just like, oh, god damn, I knew you were going to say
Again.
that. It's always that. But like, with your multi-level marketing scheme, that is Scientology, and your true faith believers of Jim Jones, there's a happy medium, the Mormons.
Here we go.
But no, like someone did kind of a comparison. What is it about the super faithful that fall for multi-level marketing schemes? People that are true blue believers in their church who fall for these pyramid schemes. Because a lot of the people that are kind of falling into these things are evangelicals, Baptists, Methodist, Presbyterians, and stuff like that, who are falling for these schemes. What is it about them that makes them so gullible? And there could be a simple answer, which is probably horrific, probably saying they've been dumbed down to believe in that kind of thing.
Or there's a comfort for having that faith as a security blanket.
Yeah.
Mentally.
But with the multi-level marketing scheme, it's just like, if you get people in, you start making money, and if they get people in, you start making more money, because that's how a pyramid scheme works. And it's a fragile system. I think a church is kind of the same way. I need everyone to buy into what I'm saying very quickly and give me your fucking money.
But it's also, well, don't you want your loved ones to go to heaven?
Yeah.
Don't you want your loved ones and your friends to be in a happy place and be better off? Don't you know your loved ones are suffering? Your loved ones are stressed, or they're sick, or bad things are happening, and I can fix those things. I fixed them with you.
Yeah. But that's kind of the basis of religion. It's just like, well, what happens after I die? And instead of having an existential crisis where everything goes black, you want to teach someone that, hey, there is something after this big go around. which is all a fucking simulation, folks. None of you are real. Once I die, you all disappear.
No, we're all on the cat collar on Orion from
Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Yes.
If only.
Where I want to be.
Yeah, we're all just marbles in the bag of the ball sack of a fucking alien.
Hey, aliens are real, remember?
I fucking guess. It's
Sure.
I'm kind of weird in that weird spot where, yeah, I hope so, and yeah, I don't want to meet them. Because, God forbid, how horrific those motherfuckers might look.
I don't want to tell them anything about any of my shit. They don't
wanna
know
see,
me.
I don't want to see a humanoid version of a platypus telling me about the fucking star field they came from. I really don't want to hear it. Unless they said Jesus was there too.
See, this planet's weird enough.
Yeah, this planet's always... I'm worried about my fucking car payment, okay?
I still think they've been around for a really long time, and this planet is just like the people of Walmart website.
Yeah.
I think
people watching.
I think cats are aliens, and it's been that way since day one.
Yeah.
Ask the Egyptians.
Well,
Makes sense.
With Scientology, aliens exist. It's part of the...
That is their deity.
Well, the
the
Xenu storyline is just
or
like...
he's like more the villain. Like
He's a villain.
Yeah.
But, the whole object, as opposed to, Christianity, which is to get rid of sin and be right with the Lord, is going clear.
Yes.
I need you to be perfectly clear. And past lives are involved. Your past life could interfere with your life now. It can make you unclear.
It's very vague.
And another thing I kind of like about Scientology, if something bad happens to you, that's because you're not right.
Yeah.
And you need to go clear.
Oh, you've got some thetans that it's not
You
you.
would
It's
have
these
broke your foot
thetans.
unless you had some thetans that needed... No, asshole, a fucking postal truck hit it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no thetans involved in that. This is bad luck.
But that's what going clear is. All of your sins being, your thetans being cleared from your psyche, your body, and all that.
But the Bible says the same thing. It's like, hey, what did Job do? He looked at God and blinked, and God didn't like that shit at all. And then he made a deal with the devil. So let's see how far we can make Job, flinch. But there's a bunch of stories in the Bible like that. Tests.
Yes.
Test your faith. And it's just like why bad things happen to good people, which is the first question in Christianity, I think. Well, Mary over here, she had a family. Her husband died of cancer. Her kids were killed in Vietnam, and her daughter died in a plane crash. What was wrong with her? And it's like, this is God's plan. Oh, okay. That's it.
Don't you love
We
that?
figured it-
Oh,
we-
it's part of God's plan.
Yeah, I would love to see some poor guy die for like a good solid 5 minutes, come back to life. He's like, oh man, I saw God. Well, what did he say? Dude, all those kids deserve leukemia. Every fucking one of them. And it's just like, oh, did he tell you the plan? Yeah, and it made a lot of fucking sense. Like, he really sold me on it. So yeah, if I die, yeah, I'm good.
I want to see this movie now where Chris comes back as an angel or
The Mormons are right. Holy shit. Holy shit. They were right the whole fucking time. Man, I shouldn't have made that podcast, man.
We've seen the movie. It's called Dogma.
Yeah, no, the Mormons are right the whole time. Like South Park, when everybody dies and goes to heaven. No, guys, you're going to hell. The Mormons were right. Turns out everyone else is wrong. Mormons had it right the first time. And like another thing is, it's like a lot of the cults, other than Scientology, are all based off Christianity. There are very few that aren't here in the Western
I was
world.
gonna say in the West for sure.
Yeah, in the West. A lot of them are, branches of the Seventh-day Adventists, Baptists, evangelicals like Jim Jones. Shinrikyo, the Anthill Kids is the only one I know that's part of Mormonism, in a way.
Right. I was gonna say Om Shinrikyo is
Christianity mixed with sci-fi.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
kind of like Scientology.
Yeah, but
Just picked Om Shinrikyo and L. Ron Hubbard in a room together.
oh man, that would have been fun. That's one of those like serial killer ideas. It's like if Eileen Wuornos walked up on like Ted Bundy on like a weird Saturday night in the Florida Everglades. It's like, who's coming out of that shit alive?
Smoking in the boys' room.
That would have been a knockdown, drag out fight. And Ted Bundy's like, you know what? I'm sold. Yeah, I'm good. High fives her, sacks her on the ass. I'll see you in Utah, bitch. Hey, if he never got caught, he would have ran into Eileen Wuornos at some point.
Yeah,
That's a goddamn
he would
fact.
have. He would have
He
had
was
to.
in Florida. She was, doing her thing in Florida. At some point, killers meet killers.
and they become enablers for
Well, it's
each
like
other.
Henry Lee Lucas met Ottis Toole.
Honest Tool.
It's just like those two fuck ups, really? Charles Manson at any time could have met a cult leader. At any fucking time.
He could have. Scientology was around in
Well,
Los Angeles.
He talks about like he almost became a Scientologist
in prison, right?
Yeah, because he got some of their books, and he was like, "This is some crazy bullshit, but I'm down with it."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, this fucking thing's cool, man. Fucking aliens and shit. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, wait, what you doing with that torch there, Mick?" And he's like, "Fuck you!" Whoosh, and lights his cell on fire because that actually happened.
Oh fuck.
So after Helter Skelter came out, some prisoners got together and lit his goddamn cell on fire while he was in it.
Can't be famous and go to prison.
Not anymore.
Nope.
Not since Dahmer. But like with some of the other ones, with some of the like smaller ones, you know, your David Koresh's, you know, it is a compound. You know, that when you start using words like compound, and hoarding guns,
Bunker.
child brides, you know, when you start using
Texas.
Dr. Pepper. When you start using big words like that, those 3-syllable words, you know, everybody gets a little fucking tense.
Yeah.
But I think with you have something like a modern era Waco, is if it was left alone, all things would have came to a head eventually. You know, the Texas officials would have stepped in and arrested him for something, and it would have been like more of a peaceful kind of thing. He probably would have held out a little bit, or they probably would have caught him slipping out in the fucking countryside. That's most like kind of like Warren Jeffs. Like Warren Jeffs was found in the back of a fucking van,
Right.
and he'd been traveling in the back of a trunk for the whole time, kind of like Pablo Escobar during his last days.
So yeah, most of these like religious-based cults fizzle out in one way or the other, but it feels like Church of God and Scientology are two of the very few nefarious cults that have stuck around.
Children of God kind of had a large group of people and a structure that facilitated, you know, the pillars of it. So like there wasn't one, like the main guy had already died.
Right.
So now it's a delegation, like a committee, a group of people that are running it. So like taking down a group of people is damn near impossible.
Well, isn't that kind of like what happened with Scientology after L. Ron Hubbard died too?
Well, right now Scientology is on the downcline because
I'm talking about like, you know, right when he died
So-
and all that.
so look at Scientology like a company.
Yeah.
When L. Ron Hubbard was in his dying days, Scientology was not doing good. It wasn't.
It's in the mid 80s, something
Yeah,
like that.
it wasn't good. He was in New York for a little while. He got sick. His health declined. Basically, the church was run by these little 13-year-old girls for a while that
Yeah.
were taking care of him. David Miscavige was a teenager at that time, and he started getting ballsy about it. He's very charismatic. David Miscavige, the story of him, you know, me and you listened to the LPN there thing about it. Fascinating guy.
Yeah.
Like he could have been the greatest car salesman ever.
Right.
But he got in while the getting was good, and I think that's the best way to describe a cult leader is he got in while the getting was good. You know, anytime Jim Jones could have messed up by meeting one extra person who really would have fouled him the fuck up, but because he was basically a child prodigy, he knew the Bible like the back of his hand. He took it and ran with it. And I will say, good for him. Like, you know, he did something. At least he did something. He could have been, you know, just some monkey salesman in Indiana, like, because that's another thing he did. He sold monkeys door to door.
Yeah. I think the story, heard one story about one of those monkeys wound up committing suicide.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was like, how does a monkey just kind of just figure out have that take on life and just choose to end it all like that?
And this is why we need to stop educating apes. Like, I totally believe that teaching apes sign, not a good idea.
That's what we learned from Coco. Coco lied.
Coco lied.
Mm-hmm.
Coco was sad, and Coco lied about destroying a sink. And then when they told him Robin Williams died, he's very sad. So they have a consciousness, and they can lie. So that means they are say it with me, enemy of humanity. So I watched those documentaries called Planet of the Apes. That taught me to not fear the ape, but revere the ape as an enemy. Communism
Respect the enemy.
Communism is red herring. The real enemy is AI and the apes.
The apes are already running AI. They're having Hank
Can't have Andy
Williams.
Serkis running around here with his goddamn AI. But Frodo Frodo-centric Caesar ape.
Meanwhile, it's nothing nefarious at all. It's just Hank Williams singing. That's Hank Williams' voice singing NWA lyrics.
Yeah, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. Just Roy Clark singing Public Enemy songs, and that's just how it starts.
I got a letter from the government
I bet Roy
the
Clark
other
would have
day.
been the shit at rap. As fast as that motherfucker moved.
Oh man,
Notorious B.I.G. Notorious Roy, motherfucker.
Notorious R.O.Y.
Roy.
with a shreddy guitar solo.
Don't worry, Dolly Parton's going to drop another fucking rap, a new rap album soon
With
because
a-
she only dropped a rock album.
She's doing a duet with Cardi B, all about paying for
Getting that Skrilla.
getting that Skrilla and getting big fake plastic booties.
Yep, that's all it's about.
Oh, bless this mess.
I know, right? This is where we are.
This is what's fun having 3 people. Like two people's fun, but 3 people is always better. Don't worry, when we do like a big like something good network fucking large episode, a round table, you know, yeah, that's going to be the real fun.
And I'm
episode.
still going to be the only girl.
Probably.
Help!
More than likely.
I would. Well, Mikey's girlfriend would join it, but she'd be like, "I want to play Chris in Monopoly."
No,
Because I know.
no.
But well, she still hasn't beaten me, and she keeps having these lesbian girls sub for her all the time. I'm just like, that's not going to work because they don't know how capitalism works. Not because they're lesbians, because they're just ignorant about fucking capitalism.
Shakes her head.
Yeah, you shake your fucking head. I don't give a shit.
That's because you know how I play Monopoly.
Yeah, you and your blonde friend tried to murder me.
Charlie wasn't going to try. She was going to murder me.
Yeah, and she would have took a Park Place right to the fucking jugular.
I am the cockroach of Monopoly.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't kill me.
She'll buy the slums.
Yep.
And ghetto your ass out of the game.
Who makes the call that says Chris is a witch and just goes in and takes the the property?
House rules, baby. House rules. That's why I asked the questions. What's your house rule?
All the
we
money
play-
goes in the middle, and you land on free parking.
parking.
You get the money.
Yeah.
But somebody decided to land on free parking 15 times in a row.
I'm sorry, the influx of cash from the stimulus that
That's
you
what,
put in the
that's
game.
what happens when you have a hand cramp and you drop the dice instead of rolling them.
If you want to play the Yahtzee rules, we put them in a little bucket. I'll play it that way too. I don't give a fuck.
We should have.
Yep. Do you know what we need? You know what they need in a fucking Monopoly game? The little sorry bubble.
Yes. Yes.
You get to do it
need
twice.
that.
You get to do it twice, and that's it.
All right, who wins in a fight? L. Ron Hubbard, Charles Manson, or Jim Jones in a brawl for all?
James Jones.
Jim Jones takes on both of them at once.
Jim Jones, despite all the amphetamine, was still in good shape.
I was gonna say when
And
are
Charles
we?
Manson was a bad thief and also a bad fighter. So, like, I'm pretty sure Squeaky Fromm could have whooped his ass.
And I don't know, I almost said L. Ron H. Yeah, he'd be mouth breathing a lot. He looks very soft.
fight you.
I'm a lover. I'll steal your girlfriend. Come here, Jack Parsons.
David, bring me a pot pie. Charlie, do you like pot pie? I haven't eaten in 3 weeks, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, he strikes me as somebody who's never been in a fight in his life. Very soft.
Yeah, he's soft. Soft.
With 2 T's.
Soft. You used to not give a fuck. Now you soft. I saw you rip a man's jaw off. Now you soft. I seen it. You should not give a fuck, Elrod. Here's the funniest thing about this is, like, L. Ron Hubbard probably created, in the modern time, one of the most batshit crazy schemes of all time.
Successfully.
It died with no pomp or circumstance. There was no big thing about him. They just chucked his ass in the ocean. That was about it.
He didn't die. He transcended.
Yeah.
He went clear.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Tom Cruise is he's talking to Tom Cruise now, and that's
I
what
think there was an estimate that there's only like 20,000 members left, other than like the richest donors, like
I was
out
gonna
of
say,
the entire
all the-
population. It's like 20,000.
I was gonna say that's the only reason they're still running is because all these rich donors keep funneling it.
And like the People's Temple, the People's Temple is still going.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
But it's no longer the Jim Jones happy-go-lucky Jungle Forest family, and Flavor Aid salesman.
And then you've got the Manson followers that are all about the lore,
Yeah.
and still kind of put him on a pedestal.
Well, it's like when you're like 13 and learn about the Manson family. There's always that 1 or 2 kids in school. Man, yeah, man, the Manson family's coming back. Like, shut the fuck up.
I got a letter from him the other day, man.
Did you? Was it a postcard written in shit?
Right.
Because that sounds about right.
But don't you know he had like a whole like crew of people like outside doing shit for him, and
I'm glad he died the way he did, where he realized he was getting scammed on that last go around by that woman who married him.
yeah,
So her and her male friend could sell it, like basically do a fucking circus show with his body.
right. That kind of
They were going to take his corpse and show it around. Because that's exactly what they were going to do.
God, I didn't know they were going to take his corpse around. I know
Charles
they were trying
Manson
to get
medicine show.
Yeah, I know they were. But yeah, weren't they like trying to get his estate or something like that?
Yes, her name was Star.
Of course.
So any bitch with a name like that can't trust. I went to college with a girl named that. I didn't trust her for shit. I gave her a pencil one time. I'm like, before I left, I want that goddamn pencil back.
Did she have 2 R's or 1?
It was one, and it was like, I'm like, is that like a stage name? Is your real name like Stephanie or some shit? And she's like, no, my name's Star. All right, whatever, Cinnamon. Lying motherfucker. Salt and pepper.
I met a girl named Salt.
Oh, I teach school. We're not going to talk about the names I've heard.
That's why we need to bring back the old names like Kermit and Brigham. Jebediah. Menelaus. If I ever have a bastard son, he's named Menelaus.
Jolene.
Menelaus Papio Daniel Morrison. What's he do? He sells flour for a living. Like a real man.
Oh, my God.
He sells baking equipment and Bibles.
He smokes 2 packs a day.
At least.
Lost
With
an
a
eye
name
in
like
a thresher
that.
accident. I had a cousin lose a finger in a chicken farm one time. That was fucking hilarious. Her fingers are like this. It's fucking hilarious. I think she stuck her finger in a fan. But
But yeah, with Star and getting
yeah,
Manson's
so she tried to get his estate,
legacy.
and like on the back end, Charles Manson's like, you scamming little bitch. You don't think I know this game? And fucking took it, right? Yeah. Took it back from her. Well, like another, going back to Manon Sheila, they rebranded that whole thing.
Yeah, we never got a part 2 out of that, or
So like she's still alive in Switzerland, as far as I know, but the Rajneeshis have been kind of rebranded with the changing of their leader's name. Osho is now still a religion of sorts. It's mainly what's the best way? I'm trying to think of the best way to describe.
Kind of like a figurehead.
No, he's a figurehead. Like he's always the image.
Kind of like L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, kind of. But like there's no one that took his place. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not much of a religion as it is. Was it positive assertions? What is it called?
Inspiration porn.
Well, like yeah, basically it's
Positive affirmations.
Positive affirmation. That's what that religion ended up becoming, was memes. Like cat memes, like hang in there.
Or like Gary V on Instagram telling you to start your business, man.
But yeah, it's almost like kind of like a Tony Robbins kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like believe in yourself. No one can stop you. Bring a gun because no one can kill you. Back the fuck up. I
want to see this Tony Robbins.
I want to see Tony Robbins say the word fuck more.
If people shoot at you, put biological weapons. Use biological weapons against them.
At the Shakey's Pizza.
Yeah, yep.
At the buffet.
At the local pizza place.
Well, Malcolm X, same thing. You put your goddamn hands on me, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
There's no difference between him and Manon Sheila. Not a goddamn difference.
Well,
She didn't get shot by her own people. Or the CIA.
Malcolm's theory was
Listen to that episode, folks, where me and Chris talk about how the government kills civil rights leaders and presidents.
I can't wait.
we actually didn't talk about how the government kills them. We just talk about how they got killed.
Yeah.
We didn't do the conspiracy part. You wouldn't let me.
Well, it's a history podcast. We'll do it on this one.
I know.
But it's just me murmuring her talking about, like, so-and-so killed Malcolm X. The government killed Malcolm X.
Yes.
Stupid.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you watch Wendigoon on YouTube where he's talking about the death of Martin Luther King, and then halfway through he's just like, the government killed Martin Luther King. Because he's just so frustrated talking about the trajectory of fucking James Earl Ray and how it's impossible for him to shoot him, and he's just like,
So you know what? Fuck it.
fuck it, the government. The goddamn government killed him. Those sick motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn Monsanto. It's just like a tirade about about the fruit production companies in South America. I could go on about Monsanto and how it's related to Pee Wee Herman.
Oh God.
Rest in peace, Paul Rubens.
I watched.
Yes.
And Tony Bennett and Sinead O'Connor. Who would have thought?
Oh, I forgot about
Yes.
Sinead.
She was right.
She was.
The Catholics can't be trusted. She was right. She said it on Saturday Night Live in front of Joe Pesci and everything.
My favorite Sinead O'Connor story. I know this is like off topic, but
Great cover of a Prince song too, bitch.
yeah. Like she does the show and she gets booed by everybody. Because this was right after all this had happened. Like she's getting booed by everybody. Chris Christopherson comes up to her.
You got
they get
this.
off the mic and he just goes, "Don't let the bastards get you down."
That's Chris Christopherson.
Yeah, I'm like, that's awesome.
Chris Christopherson's been like that since day one.
Yeah.
When he was like pushing a broom at fucking Columbia Records, it's like, no one's going to keep me down. Hey, Johnny, I got a song about Sunday morning coming down. He's like, let me get my helicopter. We'll go right this.
Hang on, let me go grab my cleanest dirty shirt.
Yeah, I clean his dirty shirt.
Speaking of outlaw country that you were talking about earlier.
It's a fucking conspiracy. It's being taken over by
The government
bootlicking
killed
cops.
Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin.
Jim Morrison killed himself.
Jim Morrison was just, yeah.
Jim Morrison
in
killed
France.
himself. Janis Joplin died by accident. Jimi Hendrix was killed by the government. Him and Sam Cooke were both killed by the goddamn CIA. The same man that killed Ronald McDonald. The original Ronald McDonald. Because they knew too much.
No, Ronald McDonald was killed by...
Grimace.
No. No. Grimace.
Who's the real taste bud now, motherfucker?
Grimace is the Tex Watson
Yeah.
in this scenario.
In the world of the Manson family McDonald's, rock and roll McDonald's. Ronald McDonald is this fucking Manson family. That little duck bitch is Squeaky Fromm. Does that make Wendy Grace Slick?
And then and then Colonel Sanders is Vincent Bugliosi.
Yeah. I got your name, motherfucker. I'm gonna get you.
I'm going to profit so much off of the end of you.
Oh, there's kind of a weird conspiracy about the Colonel. But, dude, you know, like, you remember Danielle in fucking West Virginia?
Yes.
Her dad met the Colonel. Has a photo with him.
No fucking way.
The real Colonel. Because KFC is fucking huge in West Virginia.
Of
They
course.
don't have a Waffle House for shit, but they got KFC.
They don't have. What do they have? They got sheets and
Biscuitville.
stuff. They do have Biscuitville. That's right.
Yeah, that weird. I made the mistake of going to a Bridge Day up there, and went to a Tudor's Biscuit World, which is their fucking Waffle House. And I'll go in there, and I'm not really paying attention because it's like 6 a.m, and I slept at a gas station parking lot in my car. So
I know that life.
I look up, and then I see the most uniformed people in my life who are heavily armed. I see FBI agents, NSA, Homeland Security, SBI, which means state police, sheriff, and state troopers in this business, packed. And I just happened to look up and like, fuck, everyone's armed. And it's because of Bridge Day.
You've told me about Bridge Day, but
Let's go to Bridge Day, motherfucker.
I just wanna see all the
gotta do a
security.
wedding in October anyway. Let's take 2 weeks and hang out in West Virginia. We'll hang out at Brad's house. He won't give a fuck.
Man, if
He'll
I'm
ask
not
if you wanna do a
booked, I'm
jam
fucking
session.
damn. I want to real fucking bad.
Oh, if I
Chrissy,
can
come with us.
Do you want to be my plus one at a wedding? I'm officiating. That's it. And I might be catering.
Okay, I hate to do this. What's Bridge Day?
And the New River Gorge in West Virginia is the largest freestanding bridge on this side of the United States. And they have a festival on the bridge, and people who have over I think you have to have over 100 skydiving jumps, and if you do, you can jump off the bridge and parachute down, or bungee jump, whatever's your poison. It's fantastic. People die every other year. I have missed those. I have some great photos. I think I showed them to you, some of the photos I took of the New River Gorge.
Yeah, you sent me pictures.
But yeah, it's Bridge Day. It's in October. It's fantastic. It kind of runs tandem with Mothman Festival.
I will see.
So if you want to take some ayahuasca and head down to Point Pleasant, and
You might just see the Mothman with enough ayahuasca.
my cousin started a baking business up there, so she could probably make me some edibles.
No, there will be none of that.
Well, not for you, but for me. I need someone
no.
to drive.
Yeah,
You could drive.
I'll be the DD, but no.
You can hear me just rattle off some wild shit while I'm high on fucking edibles. You know, the
So
goddamn-
record, gotcha.
Yeah.
Record the trip, gotcha,
You know,
gotcha.
the government got rid of the Burger King Kids Club and replaced it with that Psycho King. with
It makes
goddamn
sense
masks.
because I was always a part of the Burger King Kids Club.
Right, that was a multicultural club of kids, and they got rid of
Yes.
it. You know why? Racism.
Government.
I was gonna say the government.
The government got rid of the Captain Planet, Bill Nye.
That was H.W. Bush in that Burger King costume.
Yeah.
I would also like to state for the record that I will neither be parachuting nor bungee jumping off.
Oh
of
no,
a
you
bridge.
have to have like jumps in before you can even do that. Like you have to jump out of perfectly good airplanes like 100 times before you can even jump off that bridge.
Oh no, I'm good then.
Like there's no amateurs jumping off.
Oh, no,
These are
that's-
professionals that are dying.
No, I'm good.
And Terry in West Virginia isn't putting on
Yeah.
getting a
A comforter.
cape,
off a goddamn bridge.
a mattress, like Indiana Jones with,
Because I'm
with
free
the raft.
as a bird.
I thought you were gonna sing "Free Falling," but
Me too.
Nah, Tom Petty's not big in West Virginia. That's
No,
Skinner country.
I was gonna say that's Florida and Tom Petty
Yeah.
and Skinner.
And Skinner. It's funny, like, all those people in the South really love Leonard Skinner, but they're from fucking Florida.
Right.
Sweet Home Alabama, Sweet Home Clearwater.
He's picking on y'all in Sweet Home Alabama too. Is what I love.
He's fucking bullshit. He's like, I'm Neil Young's best friend. Damn, that was fun. All right. So going into those other cults. So the Anthill Kids. Let's go into another 30 minutes.
Say
into
that's
Anthill
a
Kids.
whole other episode, isn't
Oh
it?
God, that's a gold star episode.
I
If
want
anything.
I need to re-listen to that series. Like, I want to do a history we forgot episode when after Oppenheimer, because I'm like listening to a lot of Japanese context going into World War II.
Yeah, I heard recently that it was on Joe Rogan. A guy was arguing that the nuclear bomb, like the test didn't happen, like the Trinity test didn't
This is the
happen, and Joe Rogan, you know how he is. He lets people just run off the fucking mouth, and he's talking about like, you see those cameras? Where are those cameras? How are they being not knocked down? And I'm just like, all Joe Rogan has to say is a telephoto lens. That's all he had to say.
He never. He never.
No, he lets them run.
argues.
I will say that as diverse as the people on Joe Rogan are, there are some fantastic people on there. But then he allows this
I say
motherfucker on.
That's the problem. He'll let anybody on there.
Goddamn animals, man.
It's
know?
just evolved into like why Joe Rogan is bad for society in a lot of ways. Ever since he went public on Spotify.
Well, it's you know, like back in the day, he used to just interview fucking
just
Klan
a-
heads and fucking Nazis. But like back now, you know, you get people like Forrest Galante, who's like doing
he's-
research in the rainforest and stuff like that.
Well, he's always had people from all walks of life. It was always like comedians at first. You just get his comedian buddies, just come
But then
hang
he
out and
starts
do a
talking to people
podcast.
who were in the UFC who got their fucking head punched in a little too many times, and they're talking
Right.
about why pandas aren't real. You know. But that's what I like about our show. You know, this show, you know, we can always just sit here and bullshit about, you know, the conspiracies, the cults, and stuff like that.
And we haven't been hitting head enough to where
Yeah,
start spouting out all kinds of insane bullshit.
I have not received a head injury at all. I don't hear
the
fucking
words
voices
come out.
and shit. I don't hear clicks on my phone that's being tapped. I am getting some suspicion advertising that where I'm not saying anything, but I am getting things that I think about advertised to me, which always bothers the fuck out of me because I think it could read my goddamn mind.
I get the ringing in my ear every now and then.
That's just tinnitus.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
It's like, hello, tinnitus, my old friend.
That's just that musician lifestyle y'all run.
Pretty much.
Fucking heathens.
And then I'll have the occasional intrusive thought, but then it just goes away.
It goes away.
Yeah. You can't manifest that shit. You can't make it become a tulpa.
I am hearing
Which
a
would be
lot.
a whole
from,
other episode.
I am hearing a lot from other people that say, "I thought of this because I was around you too much." I hear that saying a lot.
I'm sorry, okay?
No, you're only like the fifth person this week. I literally had a friend of mine's kid say, "My therapist said I shouldn't be around you anymore," and I said, "Is your therapist a woman?" And he said, "Yeah," and I'm just like, "Well, fuck her."
This is my therapy.
Yeah, this is my therapy. Yeah,
See, my therapist never said I should stop talking to you.
yeah. Does your therapist? Do you talk about me to your therapist?
I did.
I did, and then they said stop.
No.
Please
I
stop,
stopped
for the love-
seeing my therapist a long time ago.
See, you nipped it in the bud. That's what you should do when you hang out with Chris Morrison. Do
No.
not talk to therapists.
When I talked to her and mentioned
It's
you,
always a woman.
she was very nice about it, and she said you were a nice person.
Good. That means you described me in a positive light. As opposed to my buddy's kid who's like, this fucking monster took me to see Logan.
Oh, that's what ruined the comic book movie.
Yeah.
Even though it's like a western in a lot of ways.
But,
Then again, I am a grown adult,
yeah, true. This one is a kid who believes everything out of my mouth, and they shouldn't.
which is the problem.
You'll find out more on our Gnomes episode.
Yes.
Why are gnomes in front of people's houses? I can think of a J word for it.
Jumanji? No.
Yep. You got the first syllable.
God damn it.
Subconsciously, you knew what I was talking about.
No.
Bigot. Tell them how you feel about Palestine.
Shh.
Said Cap on the longest running joke on Couch Potatoes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's an easy two-state solution with missiles.
What
Oh,
am I gonna hit you with now?
We forgot about the coolest one, the PLO. The Palestinian Liberation Movement.
I don't want to hit you with my phone. I like my phone.
AT&T will give you a new one.
No, I just got that one back.
Get a couple of
Ooh, batteries.
Don't throw batteries. Don't be like Left Eye from TLC and throw batteries at me. Mean ass.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I wonder why. They got hurt too. That's actually well,
kill Left Eye.
actually that's a
man.
real conspiracy that people that Left Eye and Aaliyah were both killed by the government. I'm pretty sure Aaliyah was killed by Puff Daddy.
No, it was R. Kelly put the hit out. She was like,
yeah, R. Kelly. That's what
R. Kelly was like, how old was she?
13,
What do you mean, how old was she? He knew.
14, too old.
Yeah, he probably said she aged out at 14.
Yeah, like a fucking Neverland Ranch. Speaking
Speaking of cults, R. Kelly.
oh yeah, I forgot it. That's a part of like a cult.
Yeah.
Well, drip,
Yeah, well,
drip, drip.
you already talked about charismatic music, child brides.
Yep,
Every musician, every band is a cult in itself.
probably Kiss especially.
Yeah.
They have an army.
Well, think about it. You got everybody has every band has a following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're only legitimate when you appear on Scooby Doo.
Right.
So, once you appear on Scooby Doo, you're golden.
Every cult, every band like fizzles out, and they don't become cults anymore. They become corporations 20 years later when the first reunion tour starts.
Yeah. Well, folks, I'm going to end it there. I got to be in Charlotte eventually. So, thanks, guys, for being on the show. Always a fun time. Hopefully, we'll have some more mics and better sound by then.
I had a time.
Hell yeah.
As did I.
Check out all the other shows on the Something Good Network.
90% of them are with you.
Yep. Because I am all that is podcasting. You are welcome. This is why I don't go to therapy, because they'll get me. Thanks for listening, guys.
You've been listening to the Something Good Network. If you liked what you heard, you can follow us on Instagram, and check out the other great shows on the network. Link is in the episode description.